Great Nigerians, you're welcome to your darling station, The Living Television. We are at it again today, favorite program, Issues of the Moment. In today's Issues of the Moment, we'll be looking at electoral fraud and vote buying. With assurance of INEC, we are now asking, what is electoral fraud? And electoral fraud, they say, sometimes referred to as election manipulation, voter fraud or vote rigging, which involves illegal interference with process of increasing the vote share of a favored candidate, depressing the vote share of rival candidates, or both. And in this situation, INEC had assured Nigerians that with the beavers, that there is nothing like electoral fraud this time. A lot of people are watching to see. The youths are out there to ensure that they hold INEC by their words. And today, we are going to look at it, and also with level of defections from one political party to the other. Is that not part of the vote buying? And when you talk about vote buying, we will also look at this. These and one or two other things we are going to look at in today's discussion in Issues of the Moment. From my far left, I have St. Moses Ogbonna. St. Moses Ogbonna is a practicing lawyer. He is also a logician and a human rights activist, as a lawyer too. St. Moses, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers.
After him, I have Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a historian and a public affairs analyst and also a political affairs analyst. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good day, viewer.
And this is your anchorman, Chinedum Adiele. Today, let me start with you, Sir Moses Ogbonna. We've heard a lot about the beavers. The beavers, the INEC have talked about it in so many ways. They say it's a game changer. And that with these beavers, it is no more business as usual, that our vote must count this time. And yet, we are about 2 days ago, even yesterday, there have been series of defections from one political party to the other. And then they say no vote buying. And when people defect, especially when it's about 11 days to the general election, is that not an act of vote buying?
You see, defection is a permanent sight in politics. It has no closing date. Can defect even tomorrow when the election. In fact, you can defect by action. When you are supposedly principal gives a responsibility in your hands, he will never know that the person he has deposed such confidence in is a Judas. Does not know he has defected in mind and not in body. Before he could know it, he has undone him and used his advantage to his disadvantage. So defection is a normal thing in politics, where one is given some incentives that he sees that is better for him than where he were. He will defect to the other party. Maybe they have promised such a person will make you a minister, or you become a local government chairman, or you become a this or that NDDC chairman. Then you defect. But if defection, every of these persons that defect will tell you that where they are now defecting to, that God has now suddenly opened their eyes, that they have now seen that the salvation of our people now lies in the new party where he is defecting to. If what he is saying is correct, has he just seen it this 11 days to the election? What's the reason for defect? Has he said the real intention behind his action? Well, I know very well that earlier on, before now, people defect and claim they have the whole world behind them. See somebody who will say, the whole of my state, I am the leader. The whole of my tribe, I am their leader. We have emergency leaders who will snap their fingers and the ballot boxes will disappear. They will write the result in their homes. Police will even be guiding them, even at the gate, making sure that the votes are written and transported to INEC, and the results will be announced. But this time around, if you like a defect, even on the day of the election, it is your vote that counts. My own will count.
All right, comrade, talking about, before we go into, the beavers and the electoral fraud, when we talk about this vote buying, I don't think that these people who are defecting, even at this 11th hour, don't you think also they have been bought over?
Well, you see, there are a lot of things that play out and pan out in politics we may not know, those behind the scenes issues. And one cannot rule out entirely the possibility of these persons being bought over.
Yeah.
Yes, in Nigeria it happens. People for pecuniary reasons or interest or benefit defect from one political party to the other. In most instances, it may be about ideology, ideological differences. You share with your party, you say, no, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that, therefore let me go for that. But it hardly happens here, this particular instance now. In other times too, it may be because of feeling of dissatisfaction that I am supposed to get this position and it didn't come to me, or my region was supposed to get this post or the presidency or whatever, or the speakership, and it didn't come to us, therefore I'm leaving this party to go to opposition, or I'm leaving this opposition to go to this other party. So it's just like that. But in most of the time, if you look at the four living aspirants you have, you see that they all have record of defection from one party to the other. But I want to say this: I'm not trying to hold forth or praise him. I love the kind of defection Peter Obi practiced with the guys to PDP. So when certain things were trending last week about him, that people said he lost primary election, I said no, he didn't lose. He didn't even participate. 2 weeks to the election, he made it clear that it has become a reign of dollar, and he's not wired that way. In fact, he's not giving to such politics and doesn't have that kind of money to throw about. He left that party peacefully. Even went to London, stayed there, consulted, came back, and then joined the Labour Party. You see that you may not liken this one to ideology. There are also defections that people don't call defection, but they are coalition. People have jettisoned the former political party, its acronym, and now moved to another association, now comprising other political parties. This is the way APC and even the PDP in 1998 and 1999 came about. You understand? People left some political associations or groups and then came together to form political parties. Then also, if you see that people have left political parties. You understand? When they leave these political parties, they didn't just leave these political parties. They badmouthed these political parties. They said all sorts of things about these political parties. They still came back to these political parties. You understand? To look for one position or the other. And we know who these persons are, and they are there today. So defection, unfortunately, from 1950s when Azikiwe's party, yes, NCNC, and then Awo's Action Group, we all remember what happened. You understand? When it was even believed that Zik was actually winning and got the momentum. But one morning, every member just crossed the other side, and we even call it carpet crossing or cross-carpeting. Understand? It means that they are just crossed over to the other side. Most times in Nigeria, it is not ideologically driven. It is because people feel their ethnic groups didn't get what it is, or their personal self. Sometimes they themselves, you promise me to make me this if I join you, you promise me, or they feel the contracts, the offices that should come to them did not come to them, and in most cases they begin to tell lies that they had consulted. But there's the provision of the constitution that is clear about it, especially as they have to do with a legislature. If you are defecting to a political party, it must be because there is an internal crisis in your own party. You don't just have to leave. So it is that way with us.
All right, St. Moses. Now, looking at this defection, last 2 days ago, a particular group, a ward, entire world, part of political party, they said it's of a Labour Party, defected. They are not a single person, defected to APC. And these are people that have been shouting will be Labour Party all this while. And then you also heard on news that a particular person in that same area in Lagos also, a particular man came out to say if any person votes any party that is not APC, they will deal with them, they will not buy and sell in their land anymore and so on. Though they said police arrested him after that. And then this level of defection, general defection, don't we associate it to also vote buying or pre-vote buying?
I wouldn't say it is pre-vote buying. It is influencing support. Because what happens at the polls is entirely a different organ. You may say you have defected to party A. For instance, I'm PDP. I will vote for P2B. There's no two ways about it. They say it's anti-party. I say it's not anti-party. I'm not working against my party. Because what is happening in Nigeria now, it will be foolish of me to talk about party when my children have been at home for months. Ones that ought to have graduated last year is still in school. And one of the presidential candidates said we shouldn't cry. That when he comes up, he will double the years. That instead of a course of 4 years, he will now make it 8 years. That God will punish him if he does not do it. When we are not happy, our children are spending 5 years instead of 4 years. You are now making it officially 8 years. You will see that even those who went defected into a party, maybe because of one promise or the other, will on that day, on presidential election, he will vote party A. The same day, Senate, he will vote party B. The same person from that party. So I wouldn't say it is vote buying. Okay. It is influencing, making an effect as if his party is very popular in that area. It's like seeing the crowd that follows some of these presidential candidates. They are bought. They are giving money, incentives, hire vehicles and give to them. The other day, some of them were fighting. So they gave them ordinary 500 naira. When they had it was 2,000. The person who collected the 2,000 pocketed the 1,500 and they gave them 500. As far as that person is concerned, why he formed part of that crowd is because of the 500 that was given to him. Some of these people defected to another party, maybe because they were denied the ticket, like you say in Abia State. Those who went to YPP because they were not given governorship ticket. Others went to Labour Party because they were not given senatorial or this other ticket. Just like that. And when they leave, you see people who were not recognized in PDP or the party they were leaving. They weren't anybody. But because they have followed this person, they will now become one coordinator or the other with him. Therefore, they are part and parcel of that. They have not influenced the vote. What if it were in the past? Yes, I can say the vote can be influenced because it is these people that will the caliber of the person that follows you determines the caliber of person who, whether he is capable of writing votes in his house. If such people who cannot write votes in your house do not follow you, my brother, if you like, let your line follow from here to obey, you will not win. But this time around, with the beavers, if what INEC is saying is true, if you like, be a leader, elections results will no longer be written in your home.
All right.
It will be determined.
All right. Before we go over to the Beavers, comrade, let us. At what point do we say this vote buying has taken place? Because from the look of things, it looks as if it is not done within the polls, and then it is not vote buying. So at what point can it be done at home?
Yes, it can be done anywhere. At any point when particular candidates, his associates or agents, try to use monetary incentive to sway the opinion.
Vote buying has taken place.
Vote buying could be sort of taking place. You don't even wait for it to happen at the polls. You understand? For example, I'll give you an instance now. Sometime last couple of weeks ago anyway, during this cash crunch, a particular person was sighted in Lagos wearing the Tinubu logo, changing money for people, giving them new currencies for old currencies, and telling them to vote for Tinubu. I'm saying it here. It's in fact, it's in the public domain. You understand? It's everywhere. That person has actually influenced, induced monetarily such persons. If they end up voting for that person without voting for their conscience, that is vote buying. You understand? And again, in most cases, vote buying may be done in such a way you may not even know that the vote had been bought over. Governors are in the habit of, most times they will say, since we suspended operation of taxi people or this one, we are uplifted without even minding whether there is a security implication. We are doing these things to gain advantage. You understand? In most cases too, you begin to see that agents of these persons, you don't even see them. We collect PVCs. It happened after the CVR, continued voter registration. Agents of political actors and gladiators went from house to house, from work to work. They alone can tell how they were able to do it. Collected PVCs from people. Also took the numbers, the VIN numbers in these PVCs, and paid them money. That is also vote buying. A lot of things are happening. Stars have come up. In fact, if you go to these campaign grounds, you see that people are now being given rice. People are now being given vex, as in plastic t-shirts. They are giving rice. They were giving Indomie. They were giving those things the government could not provide for them prior to this time. To an extent, it's also vote buying.
All right.
So
I want to disagree.
okay,
Vote wooing is different from vote buying.
You know one thing. The people who created poverty, the same people who created poverty, they weaponize poverty, and that's why I also will say it's part of vote buying. See, you can buy vote, you can also buy conscience.
Okay, now before we go on a very little break, you said there is a difference between vote wooing and vote buying.
Yes.
Let's take that first.
You can woo for votes.
Okay.
But it does not constitute
vote buying.
No. You can.
You're saying vote buying must be monetary.
It must be monetary, and it must lead to the voting of that person outside his conscience. It must be something that influences that person to vote for a particular person. That is vote buying. You can woo somebody to vote for you. Give him a motorcycle on that day. He enters there and will not vote for you. Vote buying is not done anyhow. They will pin you down so that you will show them where you have voted. If you look at the man who was threatening in Lagos, say when you vote, you come back and tell me where you have voted. Otherwise, we will send you out of this place. That's vote wooing. On that day, if you perfect it with a pecuniary incentive, that is vote buying. Many of these politicians, there's no politician that cannot woo for votes. That's why you see people giving rice during the COVID, assuming there is
palliative.
Good, they call it palliative. That's vote wooing. Even there are many of them that would for vote then that never secured the ticket. you understand?
All right, yes. All right.
And
now,
it is allowed in
there is
election.
a difference between vote buying and vote wooing. I think what all the politicians are into vote wooing, but when it comes to vote buying, I think INEC said they are going to do something about that, and whoever that is caught doing that will be will be dealt with decisively. Well, we don't know the degree of punishment. Anyway, we are going to go on a very short break, and when we come back, issues of the moment will continue. And then we are going to look at the beavers and also compare it with electoral fraud. How certain and sure is INEC? We will do that as soon as we come back. Don't go away.
Before we reach the promised land, let's save Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah, I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame. One more time. Where Nigeria is heading to. Let's save Nigeria. Where Nigeria is heading to. Ooh, yeah. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria is heading to. One more time. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Amen.
Wonderful viewers, you're welcome back. I'm glad you're still there watching Living TV and your favorite program, Issues of the Moment. Issues of the Moment comes to you from the stable of the Living Television, where we discuss current affairs as it affects our various states and this country where we belong. Having said that, now we've been talking about vote buying. But today we are going to look at electoral fraud and the beavers as assured Nigerians by INEC. The said is a game changer. And now we are going to have it on the screen, listen to the INEC person, what he says about the beavers, then our discussion by the analyst will commence. Can we have that beavers on air, please?
There is a paper, we call it result sheet. That paper, all the results of the candidate in that polling unit will be entered there. Now, the presiding officer will not take the paper like this. Those at home, they should listen to me. Figure into the system. No, there is a machine we call Beavers, Bimodal Voter Accreditation System. I will explain briefly what it's going to do at the polling unit. And that is what the party agent must watch out for. You must not allow any presiding officer of INEC to snapshot any image except the result of the election of that polling unit. That is the result, my brother. Because people are just wasting their time distributing money, sharing money. Somebody who has not won the election is sitting at the beer parlor drinking. And a lot of irregularity has happened at the polling unit. There is a paper, we call it result sheet. That paper, all the results of the candidate in that polling unit will be entered there. Now, the presiding officer will not take the paper like this. Those at home, they should listen to me. I've read it everywhere. People saying INEC is just inputting figure into the system. No, INEC doesn't write figure. What INEC will do with Beaver does not allow you to input figure. There is no space. There is no way. What you do is you carry the beavers like this. then you take a snapshot image of that result that will be transmitted into the portal. So as you are uploading it, the thing is dropping. There is no manual collation that will take place unless the electronic transmission must have been concluded.
Fantastic. And that image cannot be reversed.
Till eternity it will be there. If you want to take it to election, it's still there. Just go to the INEC result portal. It will show you. That is the magic INEC has been able to achieve.
Once
these beavers.
All right, wonderful viewers. I'm sure you enjoyed that few seconds analysis and introduction of the beavers, bimodal verification of voters accreditation system. And the INEC has assured us that this beavers machine is a game changer. You can read with it. And you also heard the INEC man talking about it, that the moment you capture with the result, not pictures, but with that result, right there and then it is transmitted in INEC office. That is to tell Nigerians that our votes must count this time. And then, let me also start with you, Sir Moses Ogbonna, talking about these beavers and fraud. I think that is why a lot of people are now involved, or rather will be involved in vote buying, because the beavers, there is nothing anyone can do about it if we will consider and accept what INEC has said. This is no more time for writing results and snatching of ballot box. It ain't going to work this time around. So, which other ways do you think that these people who are not so sure of their stance in this election, how are they going to rig this election?
Rigging in this case can only be done by INEC, no longer by the leaders who go into at the recess of their homes, gather the INEC people. They start writing, thumb printing. After thumb printing, they will count and write. In fact, sometimes they will write the result before thumb printing. That's when you see the result. The total number of votes cast will be beyond or less than the total of ballots.
Registered voters.
Not even the votes
Accredited persons.
thumb printed will be more than the results written.
Yes.
Because it is something that was done in a hurry. And they will say, but this time around, when you get there, they will show you where to thumb print. Use this one and thumb print. After thumb printing, it will clear that it is you. If it does not, they will now bring the beavers and show on your face. They will do the two. Thumb printing first. Facial validation. Once your face is your face, it will tick that you are the one. You now go vote. Except you snatch the beavers from them. There is not, even when you snatch it from them, there is nothing you are going to do with it. If after the result, after the vote, they will snap the result sheet, whether there is a network or not, they will snap it. If you snatch it and run away, as you are running, you may run into where there is a network. You have snatched it, and they are happy. Your leader is saying, bring it. Snatch it from them and bring it. While you are running, and you run into where there is network, the thing will hit headquarters. So there is no need for snatching. There will be no need for doing any mago-mago. If there is any mago-mago at all, it is INEC, because they know they are the person, they are the racer. They know how it is functioned. They know how it can be rigged. This time around, there will be no need pointing to A, that he rigged, or B, that he rigged. No. The only person that can rig this election is INEC.
Okay, comrade.
Yes.
You heard that we're talking about the beavers. I think and assured that this is the game changer, and then it is not business as usual.
Yeah.
And I think that is why almost all the contestants are intensifying efforts to ensure that they galvanize support.
Yes.
So, what is the certainty, as a person who has been in Nigeria all this while, that these beavers is going to work? From what Sir Moses said, if there must be rigging, it is not going to come from the politicians. It will be by the INEC. What's your take on that?
Yes, I think I endorse what St. Moses said. We must also give kudos to INEC. Out of 305 billion naira they requested for this election, 117 billion went into technology. There were 22 technological advancements and innovations. Today, if you have smartphone, all you are required to do is to just type, I think, www.inecnigeria.vote, yes, or .org or something like that. You will automatically see the option to select state. From there, you select your state. You also see your local government. You select your local government. You see your ward. You select your ward. You know the validity or otherwise of yourself as a voter. You see your status, whether you have PVC or not. You understand what I'm saying? As far as you've done something with INEC. And that is where you will know whether your PVC has issue or not. These are simple things. You understand? So a lot of things, even we are now having the political parties will now send to INEC through portals. Even candidates too. So a lot of things have been done. In addition to beavers, there is also IREC, that's INEC Results Viewing Portal. And there is also the one they call ABIS. ABIS. Automated Biomodal just ABIS anyway, for cleaning and the mopping up of register. That was the one they used to yank off over a million persons from the register of Kano. And then other ones they did. But election could only be manipulated. INEC has to be chiefly involved. Then the polling agents will play ignorance. Unless they want to ignore, because they are the ones to sign and countersign. If they want to play along, but from what Sen said, I want to add something. This is called bimodal, which means it has two modes now of identifying or verifying you. Good. No longer one system. It's now two modes. Bimodal. It means one, you do the thumbprints and then the facials. The facials.
So you can no longer
manipulate. You can no longer impersonate. So if you have another person's PVC, it makes no meaning. It makes no meaning. And then again, the beavers is built in such a way. Now listen, that if fully charged, even if the battery is fully charged, it can last to about 7 days duration. Under the worst of circumstances, when election, pressure, heat, and everything, it can last for 3 days. When it is in operation for 3 days. Then, if elections are being done where there is no network, it has offline mode and online mode. Automatically, it will upload when the network comes back. So it's in fact it's a large scale improvement. Only INEC, you understand, can actually finish. And then again, the next thing we also have to pray is that INEC internet or INEC server is not hacked. That they have, because they are working around the clock to make sure that they remain hack proof. During the Ekiti and Osun elections, do you know that INEC server and database were threatened from as far as Asia? So it means that the politicians are not also sleeping. They are not they are not letting down.
All right. Where I think there is problem is the ability of the voters to identify whom they want to vote. Because I know what is going on now, that a particular person may vote for P2B in Labour, and let's say Senate PDP, and then another person in another party. For instance, me, I will vote for Peter Obi in Labour and vote for Kezi Bazo. Or if it is central, I vote for Dabia Akobono in another party. If I were not lettered, how does these unlettered people be able to identify
different political parties
who belongs to Mama, Papa, Pikin, and then Balare, and maybe Broom or something?
Yes, I think another thing we have to say for the interest of our audience is that they should be there on time to listen to education INEC will give. There is a certain way you fold your sleep. You understand? You fold the ballot. The ink will now go and take another box.
Yes.
It's
so
not
it becomes invalid.
Yes. So they have to also learn this thing that there is a way you fold the ballot. You understand?
All right, before we go, please, it is important we look at this. You know, in the last concluded election in Osun, a lot of people, few persons were disenfranchised.
Yeah.
Because in that Beavers, let's assume you smiled when you were taking that picture, and as you are going back, maybe for one reason or the other, you are not smiling again, maybe you are frowning. And then they said the Beavers can reject that person, while it's not that same person. And so one or two reasons go later. So what is the alternative if such a thing happens? Said more.
I think the Beavers is capturing the human face, not a portrait.
The human face.
Yes. So you can't say whether you are smiling or you weren't smiling. The Beavers I saw in practice is different from what you are describing. It is not a picture of a person that is put there. No, it is because when they captured you, they also captured you with a not photograph. It was a computer.
Okay, so
what I saw when it was being demonstrated is that the Beavers will say it is you. Otherwise, that was why when
what
the people
brought about the
people who
disenfranchisement in Osun and even in Ekiti.
Okay, I cannot explain that. That is why we will bring in the next.
The observer mentioned it.
Okay.
They said it was very minimal though, but then it happened. So that is, I think, what I think with these elections in Osun, Ekiti, and some other places, INEC is working hard to make sure, they correct certain mistakes.
Yes, I think it was the reason they had the Beavers testing or Beavers mockery exercise.
Yes.
The Beavers mock exercise they had, which some of us supervised, and they said, if it fails to capture, your face is not even the first option. It should be the top.
It's the top rate, yes.
So if you fail that one, the alternative is now the facial.
The facial.
But
and they also say the last digits.
Yes.
The last four,
the last
five digits.
The last 4 digits, yes. Yes.
Now, what about those who were unable to do this new capturing? Who had their permanent voters card? That is not motivated and still.
You see, all these things we are saying about laugh or cry. These are
I'm not talking about laugh. I said those who have these PVC, the old one.
The last INEC conference.
That is what they call validation.
Yes.
That is what they call voter card PVC validation.
Yeah.
INEC had validated. INEC has done these things.
Yes.
Okay.
It is part of the technological innovation. The record of your PVC is with INEC. INEC knows the number. I said here, if you go to INEC portal, I've forgotten the site, and you just www something INEC.voters. You just go there, you will know whether you have PVC or not. And you can even online there, you understand? That terminates everything, or even make some complaint. I think INEC is trying, but here is Nigeria. We know our politicians are capable of.
They are sleepless.
Yes, they are sleepless, and they are not sleeping, and they are not letting. Yes, they are not sleeping. They are not resting on their oars.
And it is
they are also hiring
who don't know anything.
hackers.
Don't have anything.
See, let me tell you something. One of the reasons why politicians no longer have meeting in Nigeria is that there are softwares that are imported into this country from Israel and some other places. that they can even hack your telephone. If you are maybe a presidential aspirant, you do not know that the other party or the other camp has actually hacked your phone. In 2010, the first person to introduce this was Sisigake Dixon of Bayelsa, and he was using it to hack the current Minister of State for Petroleum.
Well, wonderful viewers, this is the much we are going to take for today. I'm sure you've heard all you need to know. The election is just by about 11 days from now to go. And it is important. We must make use of our PVC. And then today, as we're coming to the end of today's program, I'll go back from my far left. St. Moses Ogbonna, please, what's your parting word today?
Well, be early on that day. Make sure you, like he said, listen to every instructions that will be given before the accreditation begins, and then vote according to your conscience. Here in Ad, vote Obi, vote Ahiwe. Thank you very much.
And comrade?
Yes, try to be punctual because it's very, very important. Remember, the moment in fact, the moment you've been verified, you are voting. It's no longer business as usual. It's no longer come and do accreditation, come back again. No. The moment you are being, in fact, you've been accredited, you are being given slips, the ballots to go and exercise your franchise. Be early enough. Thank you.
Wonderful viewers, that's the much we're going to take for today. Remember, it came to you from the stable of the Living Television. Keep watching Living TV. We'll keep informing, entertaining, and educating you. And we'll continue this exercise until the day of that election to make sure you don't make mistakes. Remember, what affects you affects the other person. For us to correct the abnormalities, we must make use of our PVCs wisely. And having said this, from my far left is St. Moses Ogbonna. We're glad having you today.
Thank you very much. Keep watching Living TV and listening to Living Radio 90.9.
And Comrade Nnamdi Elekwachi, we are glad to have you here.
I am also glad. Thank you for having me. Thank you, viewers.
This is your anchor man, Chinedum Adiele, asking you to keep watching Living TV and make sure you vote the right person at the appointed time. Thank you.
One more time.